Yeah, go ahead, Thăng Thiền.
Dạ, mô Phật thầy. Namo Sakyamuni Buddha. Namo Sakyamuni Buddha. Namo Sakyamuni Buddha.
Thank you. Sorry, William, would you mind to share your screen with the PDF file again? Because I have not be ready yet.
Yeah, let me pull it up.
Yeah. Yes, Miss Thăng Như, how you been?
I've been okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I missed class last week.
So your sister coming soon?
Oh no, she said she notified you that she won't be able to attend class today because she's going up to see her daughter.
Oh, okay, good.
Yes.
Yeah. So, how is the vaccination in your area?
Well, I have. It's very chaotic, and it is not very organized at all because I received my first dose, and so in terms of healthcare providers, we are on our way, but we received it through our dental association. But since we started, then now it's opening up to the whole, to more and more tiers are opening up. So it's a little bit difficult now how to get the second dose, and I'll be due in February, so I may have to find a different source, either through my primary care provider, but it's very chaotic here. So.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yes. I don't know how it is in your area. I hope it's more organized.
Actually, I don't know what's out there, but because we know one pharmacist, she worked for Warren, and I don't know, she have some extra, and we bless that they gave us for first at the temple.
That's really nice. That's really nice.
I just got the second shot yesterday.
You did? Oh, I'm so glad to hear that.
Yeah. Even thầy giáo Pháp, even the other nuns who live different places, they could not. But here we bless that we have that promises, and somehow that Warren agreed to share with us their extra one.
Yeah, I'm glad you received it, so that way. Sometimes people have certain concerns about receiving the vaccination.
Yeah.
So you being a leader of the community and you receive yours, then there will be people looking at your example, and hopefully they will be doing their civic duty as well.
Yeah, and some elderly people, they are above 70s. They could have the shot now, but probably for the one at below 70, they may get the second wave sooner or later.
Yes.
That's what I hope. Yeah.
Well, that's where my sister and I were last week. We brought our parents to get their vaccination. They were actually very lucky as well because it was through the Korean Community Center, and my husband affiliated, and so they were able to sign my parents up, and so that's why we took them to get their vaccinations last week.
Wow, that's great. How about you, William? You have that as the doctor? You have that yet?
Yes, I got the first dose on Wednesday.
Oh, really? Wow, that's good. It's just safe for you now, right?
It takes about 2 weeks until it starts giving protection, and then not really till it looks like right before the second one that there's decent protection, and then right after it's like 94%.
Okay. How about Thăng Nguyễn in Netherlands? You are on the line. Or what?
Yeah, thưa thầy, I think we still wait because they extend the lockdown until the 9th of February.
Oh.
So they are now still discussing about it. So I think first will be for doctor and nurse who work in the hospital first, and then to other other inhabitants.
Tammy,
And
you know
also
any news?
volunteering.
Oh, really? Okay, Tammy, you know any news in our community? I don't know about what's going on out there.
No, I don't pay any attention at all.
Oh, really? Okay. For Thân Thiện, they put you on the waiting list yet?
No more, but I don't pay attention to it.
Oh,
Yeah, I guess I would be okay to be the last to
okay.
receive it.
Okay, good. Thank you. Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Let's go back to our lesson then. Remember, William, where did we stop last time? Remember?
I think we're right here. I think so, because here the thus come one knows that law is one form, one flavor, namely the form of emancipation. I remember us going over that, so I think we stopped right here.
Okay, can you do that, please? Yeah.
Certainly. Just this paragraph, do you want me to go any further?
Yeah, go further to the end. Yeah, please.
You and the others, Kashyapa, have done a very rare thing, for you can understand how the thus come one preaches the law in accordance with what is appropriate. You can have faith in it, you can accept it. Why do I say this? Because the fact that the Buddhas, the world-honored ones, preach the law in accordance with what is appropriate is hard to comprehend, hard to understand. At that time, the world-honored one, wishing to state his meaning once more, spoke in verse form, saying, "The Dharma King, destroyer of being, when he appears in the world, accords with the desire of living beings, preaches the law in a variety of ways. The thus come one, worthy of honor and reverence, is profound and far-reaching in wisdom. For long he remains silent regarding the essential, in no hurry to speak at once. If those who are wise hear of it, they can believe and understand it. But those without wisdom will have doubts and regrets for all time, will remain in error. And for all time will remain in error. For this reason, Kashyapa, he adjusts to the person to gain a correct view. Kashyapa, you should understand that it is like a great cloud that rises up in the world and covers it all over." So here it's, I guess I'm remembering that we did say this last one before. But again, this is re-emphasizing this common theme of expedient means. The reason that these expedient means are employed is because not everyone can accept the unsurpassed law. Not everyone can accept the idea that they can become a Buddha from the beginning, and because the Buddha is compassionate and wishes to help living beings, instead of simply telling them the law and if they can't accept it, so what? It's their problem. Instead of doing that, the Buddha conforms his actions out of compassion to speak to the living beings in a way that they can understand, to gradually bring them along so that they one day will be able to accept the great law.
Thank you. What do you think? Here, somehow the Buddha said that he's not in hurry to speak at once. Why is that?
It would seem that being in a hurry would jeopardize helping people, because if the Buddha simply wanted to speak the law, regardless of whether someone was ready, then he would speak it to people who couldn't understand it, and it would be worse than being a waste, because not only they don't understand it, but if they reject it, and then they start, it's said that people who reject this law will fall into the evil paths. So the Buddha is patient with them and allows them, the time that they need to gain the understanding in order for them to eventually understand the bigger picture.
Yeah, thank you. So basically, yeah, that's for the benefit of others, not for himself. So there's no need to be hurried, right? So he can speak Dharma according to their need. That's like if they hungry, he can provide the food. If they're not hungry yet, he would not. And you think is applicable in our situation as a Buddhist? If we want to share our Dharma with other people, we should follow this path that there's nothing for us to be hurry. What do you think? Is it more appropriate, or what do you think in our case?
I do think it is more. I think it is appropriate, because if we're hurrying, it seems like there's something else going on, other than simply being compassionate for the other person. We may have compassion, but something else is mixed in. Maybe we're afraid that if we don't say it quickly enough, we won't get them to understand it, or we want them to understand the great vehicle because it's better for them to understand that, and so we may rush even though that they're not ready for it. So I do think being patient and being attentive and aware is valuable in teaching people, and that way there's not wasted effort and there's not confusion. I know this is a challenge for me, because I just want to share everything as quickly as possible, because I feel like, oh, there's an opportunity. I want to like condense all the information I can if someone's willing to listen to something. But I do in working with you and watching how you lead the calls that we do, I notice you being in no rush and being very willing to start from the beginning, restart from the beginning, and not discount any part of the teaching. Not to say, the beginning is unimportant or the basics are unimportant, but so I'm seeing the value of that.
Mm. Yeah, if our mind are peaceful, right, there's nothing for us to be hurry, right? It just take time according to the potential of other people. So when we have, as we have for the benefit of others, not for ourselves. So what do you think, Miss Thân Như? What do you think about this part of the Buddha he has laid out for us? Is it more appropriate for us to share in the easy way, or what? What do you think?
Based on what you just said, I think it's very relevant. Sometimes we get so excited about the things that we know, and we feel so strongly about our faith and our belief. And even the things that we just learned, and we feel so excited, or we feel so strongly for it, we feel like we just want to share it. But then I think it's very important to be mindful of our audience. Sometimes we may come across too strong. So I know in my own family, even if I read the sutra, I cautiously introduce or recommend, reading the universal door passage or the sutra to my cousin and my sister, my younger sister. I approach it very slowly, because when people are not of the same mindset as you may come across too strong, to the point where it almost seems like you are selling a product to them. And that has the reverse effect, where they run away from it. So I don't want to approach too strongly, to the point where I feel like I'm selling a product, or I'm selling an idea that they are not ready to accept. And then the further you push, then the further they run away. So I think proceeding cautiously, so that way I also don't want them to garner a resentment, because then that would be on their karma, and I don't want to be the person that instilled that kind of sentiment in them and having the reverse effect. So I'm very careful with it, and I think in everything, but mostly in religion, you have to approach cautiously, because some people may be open to an idea, but they are not yet open to taking a, swallowing something whole. So as you had mentioned about, somebody being hungry, you don't want to overfeed, and you don't want to be gluttonous. So you have to approach it very cautiously, so that they can take and process enough, but not be overwhelmed by it.
Yeah, Thông Nguyễn, what do you think? Especially after you recognize as everything's come from your mind. If you have calm mind, you have peaceful mind, you have the peaceful life. And what do you think about your siblings, your cousins, your friends, your co-workers? How could you approach them? How could you help them out? What do you think?
Yes, thưa thầy. Yeah, to my experience is when I calm my mind, and I think the direct person that saw or experienced that is my younger sister. So before, I was always trying to explain or ask her, or suppose her to study about Buddhism. But then, since I just meditate, and she ultimately see that I get calm, the vibrations, whenever she have any difficulties, she come, she feel the happiness and the peaceful vibration, and then she asked by herself that, oh, what did you change? What did you do? And then I just say, oh, I just come back from 10 days meditations. And then she applied the course for herself, and she tried it. So I think the teaching of the Buddha is is beyond the words. So even now at work, sometimes a lot of my colleagues working from home, and last week they just told me, we will book a half hour with you every 2 weeks, just to listen to how you are doing meditation.
Oh, really?
So so I don't know. I think that the more we practice Dharma, the more we live in the now, and without fear, without worries, we can accept anything with happiness, and that people feel that vibration.
That's
that
more, it's more important, right? It's more effective than talking, right? Than selling, right?
Yeah.
What do you think, Tammy, since you're here? What do you think? You feel at ease? You feel comfortable? What do you think?
Oh, for sure. I really like going there because it brings a sense of calm to you, and being around other people that understand, have the same kind of understandings that you can speak to without being afraid that they're going to have some kind of negative opinion or view that will end up coming back on them. For me, it was hard, even when I converted, deciding to invite my family to join in, because I didn't want them to have some kind of negative thought or feeling towards it, and then, have the karma come back on them.
Oh, last time your parents joined, right? When you...
Yeah, everybody in my family did. All the families were represented, every single one of them. So they all showed up, but I just was scared that I was nervous that, they might, have some kind of bad feelings towards it, or bad talk behind my, not directly towards me, but they might come back around on them.
But then so far, they accept that, right?
I mean, they said congratulations. I don't really talk to them too often, so they sent me text saying congratulations. So I guess not to me.
Okay. Right. So probably feel strange for them, right? When they
observe
that type of Buddhist celebration or ceremony, right?
Oh, extremely, I'm sure, extremely strange. Even just the thought of it. My brother stopped by a while ago, a few weeks back, and I tried talking to him about meditation, and he was kind of seemed a little put off by it. And even when I talked to my mom a long time ago about meditation, she just said, that sounds like the worst thing ever to have to sit with yourself. So we got a long way to go.
No, so it takes time. So it's a time for them to recognize and yeah, in some instance, you don't need to talk too much. We can share through action, especially compassion, love, and kindness. When they in need, that's the time you can share. Anyway, so thank you. Yeah, can you read the next one, please? Tammy, please.
The beneficent cloud is laden with moisture. The lighting gleams and flashes, and the sound of thunder reverberates afar, causing the multitude to rejoice. The sun's rays are veiled and hidden. A clear coolness comes over the land. Masses of darkness descend and spread. You can almost touch them. The rain falls everywhere, coming down on all four sides. It flows in saturn or measureless, reaching to every area of the earth, to the ravines and valleys of the mountains and streams, to the remote and secluded places where row plants, bushes, medicinal herbs, trees large and small, 100 grains, rice seedlings, sugarcane, grapevines. The rain moistens them all. None fails to receive its full share. The parched ground is everywhere watered. Herbs and trees alike grow lush. What falls from the cloud is water of a single flavor, but the plants and trees, thickets and groves, each accept the moisture that is appropriate to its portion. All the various trees, whether superior, middling, or inferior, take that is fitting for large or small, and each is enabled to sprout and grow. Root, stem, limb, leaf, the glow and hue of flower and fruit, one rain extends to them and are all able to become fresh and glossy, whether their atonement of substance, form, and nature is large or small. The moistening they receive is one, but each grows and flourishes in its own way.
That's okay. Yeah, thank you.
So it's just, again, talking about how it's using the analogy of plants and the rain falling on the plants. No matter what size they are, they're all getting exactly what they need from the rain, or the dharma, I guess, is what it would be.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, the smaller trees get little waters. The big one get more, right?
Mm-hmm.
Depend upon the capacity. Yeah. Go ahead, Thang Thieng, please.
Yeah, the Buddha is like this when he appeared in the world, comparable to the great cloud that's cover all things everywhere. Heaven appeared in the world for the sake of living being. He made dissension and expounded the truth regarding phenomena. The great sage, the word honor one to heavenly and human being in the midst of all being, pronounced these words: I am the thus come one most honored two-legged beings. I appear in the world like a great cloud that shower moisture upon all the dry and withering living beings, so that all are able to escape suffering, gain the joy of peace and security, the joys of this world and the joy of nirvana. Are you heavenly and human being of this assembly? Listen carefully and with one mind. All you should gather around and observe the one of unexcelled honor. I'm the only one, none can rival me.
Yeah, you can stop here, please. Yeah, go ahead.
What this passage saying, that Buddha is like a compare to a great cloud that's cover all things that appear in the world for the sake of living beings. So he's the one that to expound the truth regarding phenomena. So he is he wants to pronounce these words that he is that someone most honored to late beings. So he appeared in this world like a great cloud that showered the moisture on all the dry and withered living beings. So what he said that he spread out the rain to all the living beings so that they can be able to escape suffering and gain the joy of peace and security and the joy of the word and the joy of nirvana. So he wants to remind them that they should gather around and listen carefully with the one mind, and that he is the world only one, and there's no other being can rival him.
So Thân Thiện, what do you think? Can you go a day without meditation?
Can I? No. No. I think it's better that I need to have at least 1 minute of meditation. Even if I'm so busy, I have to do something. I have to find a place and a time to sit down and set it down my thought.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's become a routine, right, William, for meditation, right? It become your routine work, right?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, it's been for many years. It's been hard for me if I go all day without meditation. Sometimes it happens if I'm so busy, but somehow I get used to that. It's like the spiritual food. Yeah. We get used of that then. Yeah, Miss Thân Như, please.
Yes, Tay. In order to bring peace and security to living beings, I have appeared in the world, and for the sake of this great assembly, I preach the sweet dew of the pure law. This law is of a single flavor, that of emancipation, nirvana. With a single wonderful sound, I expound and unfold its meaning. Constantly, for the sake of the great vehicle, I create causes and conditions. I look upon all things as being universally equal. I have no mind to favor this or that, to love one or hate another. I am without greed or attachment, and without limitation or hindrance. At all times, for all things I preach the law equally, as I would for a single person, that same way I do for numerous persons. Constantly I expound and preach the law. Never have I done anything else, coming, going, sitting, standing, never to the end, growing weary or disheartened. I bring fullness and satisfaction to the world, like rain that spreads its moisture everywhere, eminent and lowly, superior and inferior, observers of precepts, violators of precepts, those fully endowed with proper demeanor, those not fully endowed, those of correct views, of erroneous views, of keen capacity, of dull capacity. I cause the Dharma rain on all equally, never lax or neglectful. When all the various living beings hear my law, they receive it according to their power, dwelling in their different environments.
Yeah.
Some inhabit the...
Yeah, please.
Is that enough, Thay?
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Yes. So this passage, the Buddha is saying that he's bringing the teaching and the pure law to for the people, and it allows the emancipation or the freedom to escape the samsara cycle. It brings about nirvana, and it teaches the people how to go about being liberated and to escape from the suffering. And it is for the great vehicle. He teaches about causes and conditions, the effects of action and result of that action. But the most important thing he says is he's basically very objective. He teaches to each person, whether they are of greater processing, greater understanding, greater potential to be able to understand. Whether they are worthy or not worthy is unimportant to him. He teaches everyone equally, and he provides the same opportunity to everyone regardless of their standing. And he is not, he does not tire of this effort. He brings about this teaching to everyone, whether they are of the right views or the wrong views. He still caused the Dharma reign, meaning he is teaching, he's creating the teaching to everyone. And that opportunity is equal and even to everyone, regardless of their views or their capacity.
Yeah, thank you. So what do you think, as a common people, can we treat everyone equally, like the way that the Buddha treat other people? Like he say, I have no mind to favor this or that, to love one or to hate other. What do you think? Is it easy for us to imitate him, to follow him, or we need to put some effort there?
I think it is very difficult. I say that very freely because I know my capacity as a human being, so I can only speak for myself. I think it's very easy to be subjective and very difficult to be objective. But as you have spoken about this in the past, it is, and you've spoken about the example of the bell. We hear the bell, it is a bell. We don't say the sound is good, we don't say the sound is bad. That is our goal and that is our objective, but being human beings with a lot of our afflictions and a lot of our faults, of which we are constantly trying to improve. We have so many attachments. It is very difficult to be able to have that objective mind. But the fact that we are all here today taking this class, that means that we are taking one step forward in the right direction, that we are trying to make improvements. The hardest part is to not let our emotions overcome us and overwhelm us. And I think that is the part that is the most difficult, is to not be attached to our emotions. When we can gradually detach, then perhaps we can have more of an objective view. And that is the goal that I aspire to. But to answer your question, it is very difficult to be of the same stature as the Buddha and of the same wisdom.
In your case, William, is you need to have some effort, right? Or that should come naturally. What do you think? You treat everyone equally?
I don't think I do, because like if I saw my daughter on the street, begging for money, my response would be totally different than when I see someone I don't know on the street begging for money. Or if my mother had a problem, or my brother or sister had a problem, because there's so many people who need help, and if I would react the same way to them as I would for my family, there'd just be too many people. I wouldn't have nearly enough time, and I wouldn't have the ability to help them the way I would help my family. So I think practically I don't treat people equally.
How about Thân Nguyễn? Is it easy for you now, or are you still working on that?
Yes, I'm still working on that.
It's challenging, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Especially if people, although people who trying to cross the borders, then I have to give them warning.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have the red light for them to stop?
Yes, I remember when I changed my job last year. I even talked to my GL about it, and I told him if that guy crossed the border, I walk to the HR. But unluckily, yeah, after 1 year, I can speak to him normally now. But at that time, I was avoiding having communication with this guy.
Oh, okay.
Hey, may I ask a question?
Yeah, please.
For the for the monks.
Yeah.
Because you still have family members, whether you or Thầy Giáo Pháp, because you still have members of your family, is it difficult for you to isolate or to detach?
Let me put this way. In my case, much easy because my mom stayed with me, and the rest, my two brothers, they have their own families, and my dad, he stay in Philadelphia by himself. So the only person I concern is my mom here. I don't know. Is that answer your question, Mr. Thăng Nư?
In terms of objectivity, because you have the temple there and you have the lay people who come to you and are there, and you have students and so on and so forth, is it difficult for you to be objective?
What do you mean? To mean in that
to do you regard
equally?
Yes.
No, I don't think. Actually, I enjoy, and actually I really enjoy to treat everyone equally. Than to be objective that, oh, I favor this person, that person. Like I explained before, as a professor at university, when I grade my student, it's better for me not to look at my student name first while I'm reading their paper. So I feel more comfortable because I treat everyone equally. If I look at their names first, somehow you can say it's back then. I mean, back in my contrast, I still have some kind of bias. But if I don't look at their names, it's much easier for me to read their paper equally. But so for my student, or I mean that the Buddhists, wherever they come from, or whoever come, I try my best to treat them equally. But of course, as human, I still have some kind of bias. But I think I'm working on that in a better way. Does this make sense, Ms. Thăng Như?
Yes, Thầy, it does. Thank you very much for your insight.
Yeah, especially if we do meditation until the time that that we accept everything within our mind and let go of everything. So it's much easier for us to work with anyone else, regardless of who they are. And of course, sometimes as a monks teaching at university, I remember that sometimes I have to encounter all kind of challenges, the stigma, the prejudice, and so forth. And I think at that time, now I look back, at that time, I took it in easy way. So I try my best. Sometimes, but most of the time I could pass. So sometimes I may have some thinking about that, but most of the time I could let go much easy. And of course, if I were a lay person, it's different story. In my position, I think it is more easy for me to pursue that that road. And actually, at our temple now, I host a homeless guy, and one day, one person from Kentucky Refugee Ministry. Do you know Miss Tammy? You know that agency?
I've heard of them. I'm not very familiar with them though.
They know, yeah, they know me well since we work in our community so many years. I have the Burmese refugee few years ago, and they recognized me, and so they call me and ask me if I can help a young Vietnamese guy who was homeless and stay at the hospital. So even I didn't know who he is, so I came there and picked him up. So he stayed with us more than a month now. He's still here. Yeah. So anyways, I think in my position much better. I can help other people in this path, the path that the Buddha provide, is much easy to compare with you as a layman, right, William? Right? Because you have families to take care of, you have job to take care of, and so forth, right?
Yeah, I think you perhaps, I mean, easier in some ways. The discipline is clearly much more than I would have to take on. But yeah.
But I really enjoy that. Yeah, I enjoy to have that type of equal mind to treat other people in equal way. Then, but still, in the back of my mind, sometimes I still have some kind of bias. I would accept that, but I think my position, I have to go through that path. And of course, it needs the work too. I mean that the practice of meditation that calm your mind out so that whoever come, you try your best to treat them in equal way. Okay. Yeah. Is that so? Make sense, Miss Tang Yu? Yeah.
Yes, Thầy. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Hưng Nguyên, please.
Yes, Thầy. When all the various living beings hear my law, they receive it according to their power, dwelling in their different environments. Some inhabit the realm of humans and heavenly beings of will turning sake kings. Sakra Dharma are the other kings. There are the inferior medicinal herbs. Some understand the law of no outflows, are able to attain nirvana, to acquire the six transcendental powers, and gain in particular the three understandings, or live alone in mountains forest, constantly practicing meditation and gaining the enlightenment of Pratika Buddhas. There are the middling medicinal herbs. Still others seek the place of the world's honest one, convinced that they can become Buddhas. Putting forth diligent efforts and practicing meditations, these are the superior medicinal herbs. Again, there are sons of the Buddhas who devote their mind solely to the Buddha way, constantly practicing mercy and compassion, knowing that they themselves will attain Buddhahood. Certain of it can never doubting. These I call small trees. Those who abide in peace in their transcendental powers, turning the will of non-recrescence, saving innumerable millions of hundreds of thousands of living beings, Bodhisattvas suggest these I call large trees. The equality of the Buddha's preaching is like a rain of a single flavor, but depending upon the nature of the living beings, the way in which it is received is not uniform. Just as the various plants and trees, it receive the moisture in a different manner. Yeah, so there, in this part, the Lotus Sutra also repeat that, also give some explain there are different level in practice Dharma. For example, the Buddha gave the example of small trees or large trees. It depends on the levels of it being to practice the Dharma, and however, in the end, the Buddhahood is equally to all living beings. That's what I understand from this sutra.
Thank you. Do you know this is second power, transcendental powers of the Buddhas or even Arhats? You know.
No,
William, you know that?
I know there's 5.
Okay.
I think it's, I know that the ability to read others' thoughts,
Okay.
the ability to, I think, see into the future, and doesn't it include the ability to fly?
Yeah.
I don't remember the other 2.
Okay. Yeah, Miss Thang Như, you know this, the Buddha or Arhat sister second power?
No, I don't think. I am familiar with what William had mentioned. I don't know if it's every Buddha or if it's just certain bodhisattvas that they can change their physical appearance to however to approach a person to as part of their skillful means, or to be able to teach their dharma to them. But I don't know if that's just for certain or if that is part of one of their powers as well. But the rest of the other 2 or 1 I do not know.
And Thang Thiên, you know the Buddha's 6 sacred powers?
One is the read other people's thoughts.
Okay.
And know their past, present, and future lives.
Okay.
Can be able to transform, can be able to change the objects.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, let's see. The first one, what to call, we have the second eyes that can see through everything. They have second hearing. They can hear anything, any sound of sentient beings. And the third is they know all people's mind. They can read all people's minds. And only Arhats, only Buddhas can have that abilities. They can, the voice, they can transform themselves in any forms, whether it's animals, celestial, whichever. And again, they can remember their past life, or even know the future life as well as our people past and future life too. And the last one, the number 6, is more important, that they cut off all of mental afflictions. There's no attachment to the ego. That was the last one in Vietnamese called Lao Teng Thong. So again, that is thing we learn. And for my master, I think I remember you asked me, Mr. Thang Như, about my experience with my master. Yes, he has that ability written up people's mind that I know of. And so yeah, I was so fortunate that I met the holy monks like my master. Yeah, it's not easy to meet with that kind of holy monks nowadays, especially in modern age. So in my case, let's go back to the question that Mr. Nguyen asked me. I like to share with you too. Right now, I'm working with a nun in Vietnam. She's old. She's about 60, and we have many poor students, whether they're in elementary, middle school, high school, and college. So that we just try to help out. And Thân Nguyễn, she is one of our teacher that teach English for those poor children in Vietnam. Thân Nguyễn, want to share?
Yes, yesterday. Actually, I'm very happy that I joined the Lotus Sutra learning, and also to be as the tutor for one of the kids in Vietnam. And for me, yeah, I come from a very normal family, and I'm very lucky that I could study abroad, and I have good job now. And I'm really grateful that I could do anything back for the kids in Vietnam. Yes.
Yeah. The reason why I create this program, even we have online after school program for our children here in the state. The reason why I create another program that help those poor children or students in Vietnam to study English, because nowadays English is the universal language. That's maybe enhancement for them to move further in their future career. So, of course, talking about financial support as a monk, I get the support from like people which pass them, but the only thing I can do is to create this program to help them to learn more English, even when they still in Vietnam, so that when they finish up high school or college, they have more opportunities to apply to big company in Vietnam or abroad, or even hopefully they may come here to study and so forth. So again, not only Vietnamese students or children, I think whoever need help in our communities, we will try to help too. Okay, all right. Oh, time is up. Sorry. So actually tonight, every Saturday evening from 9:30 to 10:30, we have that class for Vietnamese children and students in Vietnam. And Thân Nguyễn, she's one of the teacher there. And Thân Thiện, right? Thân Thiện, you volunteer, right? You took the
Yes.
job last time, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Okay. Any question? Any comment? Sorry that I came late today. So okay. All right. So how about we finish today? Okay. Yeah. Go ahead, Thân Thiện.
Namaste Kamuna Buddha. Namaste Kamuna Buddha. Namaste Kamuna Buddha.
Thank you. See you next week then. Thank you.
Thank you, Tay, and everyone. See you next